hire a landscape architect, like if I were hiring.
I said it right. Well, Brooke. Well, Brock. I can't get that name. Okay, so. Hi, everybody. I'm Michael. Today, we're going to talk about what landscape architects do. So, you ready to dig in?
I sure am.
Let's grow. Today, I'm here with Carol Perez, the principal and owner of AGT Landscape Architects here in Delray Beach. So, I'd like to tell you a little bit about Carol. She is a graduate of landscape architecture from the University of Florida. Oh my God, so am I. She's also a registered landscape architect here in Florida. That's a coincidence. I'm registered in Florida too.
Oh my goodness.
And she has been practicing for over 30 years. Now that's like 3 coincidences, so have I. What are the chances? That's unbelievable. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Carol so she can tell you a little bit about what she and her great team here do at AGT Land. So Carol, tell us a little bit about your firm and some of the things you do.
All right, so Michael and I know each other from school, and that's why we are
Making that up.
been working about the same time.
Yes.
And we do a lot of commercial work here at AGT Land. We also do residential work and multi-use, such as condominiums that also have a component of commercial or restaurant, usually on the ground floor. And we also work on some community projects as well as a campus project, mostly at Lynn University in Boca Raton.
It's wide ranging. You do like civic work, you do corporate, commercial work, as well as residential. It's great. Okay, now we're going into the lightning round. We're going to do some question and answers between each other on things that landscape architects are often asked by folks, and we want to hope we can give you some of that information to help you with your gardening. So the first question I want to ask Carol is, what advice do you have for people looking to hire your firm? What advice would you give them to come to you so that they know what to expect?
Right, so generally we would go to the client's house or go to the project with the client and see what the scope of work is. If it's a residential job, is it a new house? Is it renovation, a landscape renovation? Mm-hmm. And just meet with them and talk over their expectations and what their goals are and what they're trying to accomplish. Sometimes it's hardscape, which is pools, patios, and
right.
All these outdoor spaces, and sometimes it's just landscape. And I think when they speak to you and they talk to you, they'll find out if it's a good match, because you do work directly with the clients and the people. So it's good to have that communication and good to have that good personal relationship.
Yeah, my experience has been over the years is that sometimes people have an idea, they want to do something, but they don't know exactly what. So sometimes it's just like Carol was mentioning, is having this exchange. You want to make sure it's a good fit. It's okay if you don't know exactly what you want to do. That's what we're here as landscape architects to do, is to help you, guide you, and providing these, or getting you to these wonderful outdoor garden spaces that you want to create. I think to add to some of the things with Carol is to kind of know what your defined scope is. You have a footprint. If it's a home, for example, you want to know, do you want to design the whole property, or do you want to have an addition and other things that need to be considered before we get involved to help you with your design. And another thing is if you know a fixed budget. Some people have a fixed budget, and what I have done in the past is done phases. I give them a design, and they can implement the phases over time of the part of their property that they want to focus on first, and then save up and do the other parts. So there's many ways we can help you with that.
And that's a good way of doing it, through a master plan. So we would do a master plan showing all these different elements, be it even lighting, landscape lighting, the hardscape elements, and the planting plans. And then they can prioritize what they want to implement first.
Right. So the next one we're going to go on to is some tips that we have that we want to share with you on gardening, and things that we recommend to people who we have seen so many people and there's some folks out there who do wonderful gardens all on their own in their homes, and they're just beautiful to look at, but there's things that we wish we could offer some insight to them. So that's what we're trying to do with this channel here is for Carol, like let's say a tip. What tip would you give people who have recently installed some garden landscaping in their home that they can do to ensure that it's going to do well over time?
Well, I think they need to water it appropriately and water it a lot at first. And then eventually you just kind of step off the watering.
Yes.
And then you also need to fertilize.
Yeah, and you got to be careful now because there's some ordinances on fertilizer, and you want to make sure you don't get any close to any water bodies because there's some changes on fertilizing. Using compost is good, but you can also use some organics or those that are safe to use. But so it's always good to check with your municipality. But the establishment period, Carol's spot on. I totally agree. Is that your plants get a little bit of shock when they're going to be installed, just because they're coming from a nursery where they're regularly watered, they're getting this right amount of sunlight or shade, depending on the plant, and then they get transported and then installed. So there's a little bit of adjustment period. And the watering and the maintenance is very important, critical for the first couple months, I would say, for definitely the shrubs and the trees up to a year, I think.
Definitely. And then luckily if it rains, that's free water, so we love the rain. But if it's not raining around here, it's hot, it's summertime, and it hasn't rained for a couple of weeks.
Things will get scorched.
So things are very dry, so it is important.
Yeah.
Even if something's drought tolerant, it still might need a little
Absolutely, because it's, you want to have your, designing for sustainability is a huge thing, and resiliency, that's probably the thing I think is most important. It's like you want to design that's resilient, that can handle the stress of drought or too much rain. We've had down in Miami and stuff, we've had these recent floods, and you want to make sure that your plants can handle the environment that they're growing in, and to know that the local area, if you're designing in a beach area, you want those plants to be adapted to that salt spray or some of that higher, getting even some of the salt water, depending on the lens, the water lens underground.
And Michael, that touches on right tree, right place.
It does.
Yes.
That's a huge thing. You want, in any design, is put the right tree in the right place.
Or right plant
Or
in
the right
place.
plant.
Right plant in the right place.
Yes. One thing that drives us bonkers is that just look up, everybody. There's power lines in your neighbor's yard and stuff. You don't want to put a tree or a palm that's going to get certain height that's going to grow up in there, and then it has to be trimmed or taken out. So it's one, the safety thing, and another thing is just right tree, right place. You want to have plants that are salt tolerant on the beach if you have a home closer to any salt spray. If you're in a different area where Pine Rock than down in Miami and some other areas, you want to encourage plantings of those types if you can, because they're going to do best, because that's what the native soil is telling you.
And if plants don't like the sun, they would be better planted underneath a tree and in the shade.
That's huge. I've seen that a lot, where people see a beautiful plant and they put it out, and it's a shade-loving plant, and it goes out in almost full sun, and then it's just burnt, and then or it suffers a year in and year out, and then your design starts to falter. One more thing I'd like to add is that you want to design for maintainability. Our designs are always living and growing and changing, which is so cool. You build a building and it's going to be static. You may change the color, you put an awning or take one off. But with ours, the trees grow, the ground cover spread out, and you start to have this wonderful change. Up north, you have a change of seasons. We even have some seasonal changes here where our flowering stuff will start kicking in now, and we're going to go into an interesting part in a second. We're going to be talking about that. But designing for maintainability is a huge thing in my mind, because design is only as good as these wonderful things that Carol and her team are doing, and we've done at with my small practice as well, is that you want to make sure you can get to the utilities of your home. If you're putting shrubs all up against you, you need to get to a hose bib. The gardener yourselves are going to trample all those plants, and those things that you just bought are going to die. You want to make sure you can get around, and if there's maintenance that you need around the facade of your home, give yourself a little bit of a mulch path that you can get to the things you need to for utilities, because it's a shame. I've seen some people block access to doors, and then they just get trampled, and it's a problem. So you want to do right tree, right plant, right place, and then design for maintainability.
Yeah, and it's always good not to cramp the plants next to the buildings or next to a sidewalk. Give the plants room to grow.
Sometimes people crowd them out. Now, I've done that in smaller cases because weeds are such a problem in certain cases, but if you go with that and know that the plant will grow to a certain, or knit together, that could be a strategy. But you typically don't want to blow your budget by putting plants too close together, or putting plants that are not compatible, one that wants a lot more water, one that doesn't. You want to know those differences as well, and that you don't want plants that are one that will just quickly grow over and just smother the one below it, because it just tends to get larger. So you have to again
know the mature
plant
sizes of how things like to grow.
And sometimes the initial thing you'd be like, oh, it doesn't look like what I envisioned, because the plants need to grow. Now you can upsize the pot or the container size if you have the budget for it and have more of an instant look. But it's also fun just to see your yard or your space, your civic space or corporate space grow in over time. And so that's the beauty of what we do, is we see these things take on even more life.
Yep.
And we help the environment along the way by capturing all that carbon. The next part, which is what I'm super excited about, is that we're going to go and talk and ask Carol about some of her favorites. Now, first one is your three favorite palms for South Florida.
Okay, so I love all palms, but if I were to pick my favorites, I suppose a coconut palm, just because they are informal and they're large and they look so nice in the landscape. And then maybe a Montgomery palm. I use a lot of those.
Okay.
I use a lot of Montgomery palms for the height, and it's a skinnier trunk. So as the coconut has a larger trunk, the Montgomery has a smaller trunk. And it's just in general a smaller palm. And as far as a small palm, I love thatch palms, which is a Florida native. So you can get those, singles or doubles, and I love them. Do you like those too? Are those your favorites? Do we have the same favorites?
We didn't practice this at all, and almost. I didn't think she was going to say number one by far, coconut, 100%. And I just did a video on our channel, if you know about coconuts. And my sister she was all upset about the coconuts falling down and hurting her puppies. I'm like, Bonnie, have you ever been hit by one? No. You just need to maintain them. They're a royal palm can drop a frond and be just as heavy as a coconut. They're very good to use in the right plant in the right place. Love coconut. My number one palm by far. I think if you look at it in the Keys, it could be considered a native. They're saying it's not.
I use them as natives.
I consider them as a native because that's the way we see it. But the botanists tend to have a little tussle back and forth on certain plants that we feel that we should be using, and they feel sometimes they get to be invasive.
I think they're naturalized.
Yeah, there's a lot that are naturalized, but I want to say that they're more of a native. I think it was her. She likes Montgomery. I like the Alexander. But my top three would be that the first one would be coconut. My second favorite is the Florida thatch palm, and I can't believe you said that. I love that palm. At Miami Airport, when we were hired and I worked there for the county there for almost 20 years. We had rooftop gardens. We did a lot of tree relocations and landscape beautification, because they were doing so much massive work, not just at that airport, but all the satellite airports in Miami-Dade. And the thatch palm we would have in these raised terracotta planters, and you could put them in there. We would forget sometimes to water them or move them from certain things when there'd be dignitaries coming in. We'd have these events, and these things are so tough. They're beautiful. They don't get large. It's just a wonderful, wonderful palm.
Oh, and they have that palmate leaf too, which is gorgeous.
Just so pretty. And my third favorite would be, and I'm struggling, it's either the Canary Island date for something just majestic.
It is.
Or the Bismarckia for a punch of that silver. And I don't know, those are large palms. Well, I don't know if you have one outside. I think
we have a Latania.
You have a smaller version, a little cousin.
Yeah, very similar.
So it's one of those two, and I think I have to go with the Canary. But it's so funny
those are good choices.
But yours are, of course, we're so alike. Look at our favorites. So now we're going to go into Carol's three favorite trees. They can be
my favorite trees.
Yeah, we'll do another episode. We're going to do more and more of these videos, so please keep checking in on our channel. And thank you everyone who subscribed and who stopped by. We really appreciate this. But we're going to talk now about three favorite trees. It doesn't have to be flowering. It can be if you want, but
we do love flowering trees. Okay, I'd say my top one is an oak tree, and that's just for anywhere in Florida. They may look small when they first go in, but you give them a good 20 years. It takes a while, but they look so beautiful, and they provide a lot of habitat for animals, and I just love that. And then when you get up into North Florida, I mean, you just can't beat those beautiful oak trees.
They're spectacular.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah,
so I do love that. It's great for shade, and that's a large tree. And then we were just talking about the strawberry guava,
Right.
So I'm going to say that that's one of my favorite trees. I have one at my house. We have one here at the office,
And there'll be folks who are saying, oh, it's invasive, and there is some things about that. And this is where we get into this little tussle with the botanists. I don't see them taking over natural forest communities. The seeds are readily viable so that they grow, and that's one of the things that you don't want them to get away. But in a contained area, I think they're totally fine. They're beautiful small trees. I absolutely love them. When we were out of
they have
out of
beautiful
school,
bark.
they were not invasive, and I use them a lot, and people just love them. They're great for courtyards. They're good small trees,
It's a
and they're
good
very
patio
low
tree.
maintenance.
Yeah, it's very good.
Now you
patio
could use
tree.
bridal veil. Well, that's got a little different. Oh,
They get a little bit.
no, I'm not going to say anymore because
Okay,
I want
my
you to
third.
go.
Oh, you're going to go with the
I
bridal
want you to-
veil. I'm going to skip the bridal veil tree. I'm going to go with a tababuya, and just any tababuya. I love the
Okay.
yellow tababuya. They
Yellows
flower
are a
so-
little weak
so-
rooted. That's the only thing.
They're
but
weak, but they're gorgeous.
Their
for flower.
the yellow flower is stunning. It's
Yeah.
so beautiful. I like to plant them in a tripod type setup where the roots grow together, and you just because they grow small,
Oh.
and then with a storm event they share the roots so they don't
Makes
tend
them
to fall.
stronger.
It makes them stronger.
That's
So because they do. Once they get established, or in some areas, I've seen some ancient ones down in Coconut Grove in South Miami.
Mm-hmm.
They're fine with storms, and they get this wonderful corky stem and growth habit. It's such a cool.
That's what
such
I
a
like
cool-
about them too, the growth habit, because it's not just an upright tree that's just straight. It has character.
Yeah.
And I missed a tree.
You said three, but go ahead. We can't help ourselves.
A gumbo limbo. Just,
Yes.
Again, because of the growth habit, you can get some funky,
very much like
looking
very
trees.
good. We have a spectacular specimen, which I'll be doing a TikTok on, I'm sure soon, at Reynolds Park in Miami. And it's a wonderful, right on the mound there, and it's got to be, I don't want to say 80 years old, and it's spectacular, just beautiful, and it has this reddish, peely bark, so beautiful. So now that she mentioned that, I come in like with sad, nothing else I can really add. Gumbo limbo is my favorite. Oak is always up there, but gumbo limbo is just so beautiful. And I'm struggling. Bridal veil, that's probably my third favorite because I just love the look of the bridal veil so much.
Lacy look.
It's so beautiful. It's a medium-sized tree, and the guava, the strawberry guava is right there. But it's a different look for both of them. And then my second one, I don't know if it's the Vera Wood or the Queen's Crepe Myrtle. The Vera Woods are yellow flowers year-round. You have one right out here.
We have
Pretty.
they're slow growing.
Slow growing. I think
it's been 8 feet for 20 years.
Wow, well, it's a medium-sized tree. We got a small. I love them, and it kind of has a smaller leaf.
Oh wait, you're talking about the the Vera Wood.
Vera Wood.
Oh, Bolnesia.
Bolnesia.
Okay, sorry, I got mixed up. Yes.
So is that slow growing?
No.
Okay, so I
Yes.
was just being nuts because I'm like, well, ours are growing pretty, but
Sorry. I was thinking.
there's so many plants in our heads. It's hard. It's not fair to. Yes, I know, but
I
you
was
were.
thinking of the Lignum V.
Oh my God, Tree of Life. That's a Florida native. Super expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, we should got a top 5 on those trees because there's so many. That's a beautiful tree.
Yeah.
Doesn't grow very large, but it is expensive. Beautiful flowers, and I think it's a wonderful pollinator attractor as well.
Yeah.
But I would have to say it would be gumbo limbo. Then I just love the Queen Crepe Myrtle when they flower, but they go through a semi-dormant period, and that's the only thing is that. But that's part of the character because the leaves turn reddish. So I have to say that, and then a bridal veil. I would have to because we got other stuff to do,
Okay,
and you guys have been so
great.
patient. Thank you. So now we're going to go on to favorite shrubs. Your 3 favorite shrubs.
3 favorite
Go.
shrubs. Well, I'm gonna go with cocoa plum as my #1 shrub, just because I love the color. It is native, and again, it's a wildlife attractor. So you get the big berries, you get the red leaves. I love the red tip, and that's
Birds
a really good shrub. Other than that, I mean, I'm gonna go with some tropicals. So I love Philodendron and Burley Marks, and
Fantastic.
gosh, what else am I gonna say? I mean, it's just way too many to.
Cocoa plum bingo by far. I love that. I think that green island ficus. That's a plant that you really just can't kill. It's super tough.
That's a good
And it's
plant.
used everywhere, and I get a comment, but it's also tough, and that's something that forms it's a resilient plant. I've seen it planted in Fort Lauderdale near the beach, and it's really not a beach plant, but it can handle it, and it handles people trucking back and forth between the medians going to the beach, and they still bounce back and grow. So
It's
so I think-
hardy, and not only
It's hardy.
that,
It's not a
it
native,
does
but it's
different
super-
things. It can be kept short, it can
Yes,
get tall, and
exactly.
it can also trail over walls.
Yes, it can. It's
It's-
really adaptable like that. And if I was to pick another, I do like silver buttonwood as a hedge, but it wants to grow as a tree. I would say podocarpus. It's not a native, but there's been some issues. We have podocarpus out here.
We have podocarpus Pringles, and we
Yeah.
use that a lot too
I like
as
that.
a ground cover, and we interchange them as far as
Yeah.
Ficus Green Island and podocarpus
Yeah.
Pringles. It has a
Yeah.
really pretty leaf.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of something to give someone some color. There's lighter. You can
Well,
do accents and stuff like that. You can do
Exora
button
flowers
genders.
all year round.
Yeah, you can get the Taiwanensis, that's wonderful, and that's great. It's a little bit smaller. The Super King, the Nora Grant. Nora Grant doesn't like the cold so much; you can get beat up. But those are some good
I
ground
also like the
flowers.
pinwheel jasmine because it has
Yes.
kind of
That's a TikTok.
I don't know. It's a beautiful white flower.
Beautiful.
And
And
then
it
you
handles
have
a little
to,
bit of shade. You can handle a little bit of shade in
Yeah.
flower for you.
and when you
Yeah.
have to mix plants with other plants, having a white flower is
Yeah.
sometimes a real winner just
Yeah.
with other colors that you're using.
Button ginger.
Yeah.
Button ginger's great too. Or gingers, yeah, those are more of like accents. They're not really like shrubs per se, but they fill that height of what shrubs and accents will do. And on the last one before we do a tour of your wonderful office, and then we're going to go and look at one of her sites, is what are your 3 favorite vines?
Oh, my favorite vine. So I love bougainvillea. I don't know if it's my top, but I do love it. I don't love the thorns. I have scars on my arms from trimming those. You can't beat the color.
You can't beat the color.
And there's so many colors,
I
and
did.
they're so beautiful.
I did a video with my sister, and we're going over some, and it's on our channel on bougainvilleas, and there's 2, the silhouette and then Miss Alice. Those are thornless, and they're more shrub types, so those are good shrubs as well, and I love the white on the Miss Alice. But I had a Barbara Karst and a James Walker. I think you have a Barbara Karst out here, and they get enormous and they're beautiful. And the fuchsia flowers are red on between the 2 species. Variety. Sorry, I was trimming on my shores of, and I was telling my sister. And the thing about maintenance, you don't trim stuff or work if you're tired. Take a break. But I was like finishing trimming this hedge in my yard, and there was one huge spike of the bougainvillea arm up in the air, and I was just ready to go and finish. And I said, okay, I got one more. And I took my lopper, and it's way up high, and I trimmed it, and it didn't fall the way I thought, and it fell, and the thorn went right into the top. And it stuck there. And I basically removed the branch, and it impaled me. I was sore for a month. I was in so much pain, so you got to be very careful with it. It is a beautiful, beautiful vine, but that's a great one.
It can be dangerous.
It can be, but there are some thornless types. Okay,
Yeah, then
so,
I love the Confederate jasmine.
you keep
because-
taking all the ones I like.
Yeah.
I love Confederate. The
Love
smell
Confederate
when they
jasmine.
flower. Oh, stunning.
You
It's
can
like
train
citrusy.
it.
Yes.
It can
yes.
fill in a wall. It can do designs on
Yes.
a wall.
Yes.
That's a real beauty. And my third, we really stick to those 2.
I have
I don't
one.
know, maybe a passion vine. I don't know.
Wonderful. Passion vine's
Passion
excellent.
vine.
That would be one of my 3. And I love the sandpaper vine or the Queen's Wreath vine, not the Queen's Wreath, the Queen Crepe Myrtle. The Queen's Wreath vine has this beautiful, almost like a wisteria type of purple flower, and it's a wonderful vine. I love that plant, but those are great.
What's the Latin name on that? Queen's Tree.
Queen's Wreath?
Yeah, no.
No, my sister did this on another video and I forgot it.
Just testing.
Queen's Wreath. Now I'm getting
Okay, we gotta move
speciosa
on.
for Queen's.
Did
Yeah.
you do your 3?
Huh? No, I'm going to put it on the bottom of the screen. I'm going to have a thing when my memory kicks in, Carol. You got Vera Wood mixed up with the other one. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go on a field trip. But first we want to talk about a project we recently did. I don't know if it's one of these drawings here.
No.
And do a little tour of the office, and then we're going to go out and look at the project you did, and then we'll come back and do a quick closing.
Yeah.
So what's the name of the project you recently did that we want to take a field trip and see?
We are going to see the Wellbrock House, which is the new CRA, that's a community redevelopment agency. It's their new offices. They actually moved this house to this current location in 2019. It's a historic house, and it is on the historic, I guess, register.
Oh, nice.
Although it's, I think it's from 1937. So they moved this house next to their current building, and then they created a courtyard which we landscaped, and we also landscaped around the building too. So it's very nice. Go look.
Great.
All right.
Okay. So what we'll do is we're just gonna bring you through and show you some of the folks here at Carol's firm, AGT Land, and then we'll do a quick tour over there, field trip over to look at the work out there.
Right, and I will say, so our office here is from 1924. We just did a renovation last year. It was during
wonderful.
COVID. You know, this,
It's beautiful.
it's a really lovely space, and we are in the Old School Square Historic District. So
Nice.
this is a historic home also.
And if you come, she'll give you free sparkling water. Yeah, free sparkling water when I arrived. It's so nice.
Yes, we are fancy.
Fancy. All right. So what we'll do is we'll just do a quick tour of the firm, and then we'll go do a field trip. Here we are. We're going to start with Beth's office, right?
Yeah.
Hi, Beth. Thank you for letting us do this. So, Carol, let's walk through and show us the rest of your wonderful office space. Oh, here's Brianna. Oh, Carol, I think I remember the name of the Queen's wreath. Could you minimize that? It's Patria. Yeah, Carol.
Okay.
I remembered.
There you go.
Thank you for saving me, Brianna. So here's some work that they're doing in their office. Beautiful orchids. And over here is Monique. Hi. Ooh, look at these. What's this we're working on?
This is going to be a new condo building.
Oh, nice. Oh, you got, what are these? These are your crepe myrtles?
Yeah, and that's in Delray Beach Florida. That's in Delray Beach.
Oh, how nice. Very nice.
We're getting ready to do a site plan approval on that.
Oh,
So that's
wonderful.
what we do a lot of too, site plan approval.
Yeah, you have a lot of experience in that, as I recall.
Yes.
So over here, we'll just pan over, and then we're moving over towards your office. So
This is our print room.
nice. And we're in her office. Ta-da! How nice. Very nice. I love how you hung the artwork on the wall.
I haven't gotten that far.
Well, you just finished renovating. Look at this view, you all. Isn't that beautiful? There's the gumbo limbo she's talking about. Look at them all. Aren't they cool?
It's a
And the
whole
button
grove.
ginger.
It's a whole grove of
Oh, and you got shell ginger next to it.
gumbo limbos.
Hope you all can see that. And if we look out here, what is this over here you had mentioned? That's coffee. Wow.
That's wild coffee, and I get a lot of zebra butterflies
Yes.
buzzing around.
You know when you mentioned the passion vine, that's the host plant for the zebra and the Gulf fritillary. And they're like, my nephew has it planted as his home, and it looks so nice out there.
And then this
So
is
pretty.
A,
Oh, here's another project.
yeah,
It's-
that's a landscape plan of what we're going to go see over at the
sorry.
Wellbrock House.
oh, nice. So this is where we're gonna go.
Yeah, that was the final plan that the landscape contractors used to implement the design.
Right. So this is what we call a construction document. It's not the rendered beautiful drawings that we sometimes present to clients to get the idea across. But this is how the contractors typically take their work. I do a little bit differently, but many folks, this is wonderful. Can't wait to see it. Many folks, this is what the landscape contractors will have when they either bid or they take over the project and go to install it. All right, so now we're gonna go outside and on our way to go look at the project. Ready to do it?
I'm ready.
Okay. But before we do that, we're just going to show you the outside of Carol's office. She's done a wonderful job here. She's got these beautiful gumbo limbos behind her. And then you have a frangipani. What color is that when it flowers?
It's pink, but we do have a yellow one.
Oh, they have a pink and yellow one. These have beautiful flowers. We have one, a TikTok where we did that. We have some palms here. Look at the entrance. Beautiful. Little hybrid palm here. Hybrid. Uh-huh. And then here, oh, you have a lignum vitae.
We do.
Oh my goodness, it's this, we just talked about it. It's so pretty. This is a nice one.
There's even a bromeliad growing.
Wow. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at the air plant, y'all. How beautiful. Oh, Carol. And then Latania, right?
Yes.
Very, very sculptural. This is the one I was talking about between this and the Bismarckia. The Bismarck gets much larger. And then,
Beautiful blue.
and then you have the Vera wood, one of my faves. Should be flowering right now. It's wild.
A little flower up at the top, and
Yeah.
the flower's yellow.
Yeah. And then the bougainvillea that we talked about that impaled my head. See this guy's up here, one of those spikes like that? That's what fell off and just put a divot in my head. Oh, this is really nice. Here's your Pringles, right?
Yeah, the sloppy painter crow.
Oh, I love, yeah, crotons. Those are another, they can be accents or shrubs, you know? Oh, these are great.
Right behind.
Oh,
One of our
Florida
favorites.
thatch. Love the Florida thatch. That palm is just so tough and beautiful. This palm's unique here, Carol. I like this. There's some, it just looks different. Is it going to be a,
Lost its head. That was a hurricane palm, and if you turn to the other
oh,
side, you can see what it really looked like because they were matching it.
oh, it's a shame you lost.
And then right below it, we have
Beautiful.
We do have a strawberry guava.
Yeah, you do. You have a guava over there.
And the Japanese blueberry.
Yeah, the blueberry is so pretty. Has a similar look to the cinnamon bark, but this is not native, but beautiful. Beautiful small tree. And our favorite palm. Look at that. Look at the coconuts. Aren't they beautiful? Oh, your office space is so pretty, Carol.
And we do trim those coconuts because we
Yeah.
don't want them falling on our car.
Yeah, you just need to do that. You just need to trim out the efflorescence there, up there when they first come out, and that way you'll keep from getting coconuts. But it's just such a beautiful palm. And then the Robellini, that's another great palm. Super tough. Button ginger, love it. And the strawberry guava. Another.
Ginger really fills in.
See them? Look at them. Look at little guavas. Such a,
The bark.
the bark, beautiful, right?
Yep, multi-trunked.
Yeah, yeah, such a pretty small tree. Oh, your frangipani's flowering over here.
Oh, that's the, okay, so this is the pink one, and out front we have a yellow.
How pretty. Yeah, sometimes this whole tree will get covered in flowers. It will drop these leaves in the wintertime, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Deciduous.
but it's also cool too because it can be multi-trunk. Here's a standard, but it branched low. But this forms a very sculptural look even when the leaves fall off in the wintertime. It's a cool thing. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go for a ride. Ready to go in the Tesla?
I'm ready.
All right, we're gonna go check out projects you recently created. Here we are at the Wellbrock residence. This is a project Carol recently completed. So Carol, tell us a little bit about what you were envisioning and the outcome, what you did here to help these folks with this beautiful renovated space.
Right, so what we did here is we framed the entrance with these double Montgomery palms.
Beautiful.
And then we had some equipment we had to hide, so we used
Yeah.
a purpose hedge for that.
This drives us crazy as LAs. They always put the fire suppression or backflow preventers right near the entrance. They should never do that. I think code should push all this stuff to the side, but this sometimes we as LAs have to come in and fix this, and you have to screen this because this is an eyesore. It's needed, but you don't need to have this at the front entrance. And that sometimes you have to deal with what certain things, but typically utilities, you want to have them off to the side. But you did a great thing here screening that because that drives us bonkers as LAs that you have that.
Landscape is fairly new. It was installed maybe a month ago, so it's still growing.
Nice.
And then just as you get to the entrance a little bit further, we use this little croton.
Oh yes, yes. Gold dust.
Yes.
Love that croton. It like the one you have at your office goes much bigger, but this one's really cute. And what's going on back there?
And that's another arborvitae.
Lignum viting.
Lignum vitae.
Beautiful.
I don't
We'll
know.
get you there. We're LAs, we know. But that's beautiful, beautiful. Very slow growing. Here's some of our favorite shrubs that we were actually talking about, the cocoa plum and the Green Island ficus, right?
Yep. And then this is a crepe myrtle. This isn't the Queen's crepe myrtle,
Right.
but it is a multi-trunk tree.
Right,
And
right.
that will have a beautiful flower. I'm not sure which.
Yeah,
which
it's
one
getting acclimated. This will normally be filled with leaves, but it's probably just getting acclimated. But beautiful flowers on the plant. This sometimes happens with podocarpus. This is one thing I don't know if I mentioned earlier. Sometimes you have to check on these. They may shock out on you, and sometimes that happens. It's okay. You just need to replace it. I've seen this happen on most of the plants will do well, and occasionally one will just not take, and you just have to work to to fix that. So screening the AC, great idea.
And then as we make our way down to the courtyard, we've used desert cassia.
Yeah, beautiful.
We have 3 of them in a row.
Beautiful, and they get beautiful yellow flowers. Oh, how nice, Carol.
And then this is the courtyard where the 2 buildings come together and form this space. We also have this is actually a residence to
Okay.
the south of us, which also forms the other
Right.
wall, basically, to the outdoor room.
Right,
And we've used the silver buttonwood, which is multi-trunked,
Right.
Florida native,
right.
and
These palms will grow up and over and above, so that they'll be getting here, I'm sure, to trim those lower branches, so that you'll have this multi-trunk, beautiful silver buttonwood.
this is
it's
handicapped accessible ramp that goes up
nice.
to the entrances. We've used lady palms
Oh.
over there because it's
Oh my God! We were talking about palms. These are one of my faves too. I love the lady palm, Carol. So beautiful. Such a wonderful, wonderful. See, look, we're in total shade here, you all, and these things will do fine. Beautiful.
And we also, in the shade, we use the philodendron
Oh, the Congo.
Rojo Congo.
Yeah, beautiful.
It's a real winner in the
Yeah, yeah. It's a great, neat accent. Oh, and you have some Ixoras here.
We have some Ixoras
Yeah.
color, and then in the center we wanted to do the Yukon Holly globes.
Okay.
And
Okay, a little bit of structure here.
eventually they could put a fountain if they want, or some sort of sculpture.
Right.
And then these 2, Michael, this gets back to the ficus green island. These are
Yes.
small little tree types.
Yes.
Eventually they'll grow into a small little tree.
You can. They're very tough that way. And they have this really cool trunking habit to them, where they get, you you can actually see some of the roots that will come down. It's really neat. Yeah, and that's the same plant right over here. You can use them. Very, very versatile plant. You have some blue days for a little bit of color. Beautiful.
Yeah, we tried to throw a little color in.
Wonderful. This is so nice, Carol. And then so you're going to put the podocarpus here to provide a little bit of privacy as this grows up, with a little separation between the spaces.
Yeah, to provide a little room. And then they also connected the buildings with this awning.
Nice.
And it's a nice covered awning
Uh-huh.
underneath the little deck.
Very nice. Oh, this is wonderful. Great. All right. Well, thank you for taking us on this tour. So here's just a little day in the life of landscape architects. Thank you all for joining us today, and I really want to thank Carol. Thank you so much for spending time out of your busy day to show us some of the things that you do here at AGT Land and
Thanks,
for the
Michael.
community at large. So I'm sure we'll
you.
have some more time to do stuff with you in the future. Please, if you all have any questions or comments, just leave them in the description box below, and we'll make sure we get back to you.
Yeah,
Until
this was a lot of fun, and I'm so glad that we had that time to talk about plants and gardening and landscape architecture. So thanks.
All right, bye. Please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And tell your friends and family. We post videos weekly. Thanks.